Hello everyone, and welcome to the Tim Booker channel. Open the door to wealth with the Zero Listening Books. Said I wish you all a pleasant listening. The book I want to tell you about today is called There Is Only One Thing That Matters. What is done is an American named Keller at home. He is one of the largest real estate companies in the world, chairman of Keller Williams International Realty. He has written several books, millions of copies sold worldwide. Now we're going to talk about this book. It's one of them. It used to rank first in the book sales list of Amazon.com in the United States. Let's take a look at the title first. There is only one thing that matters. What does that mean in general? We all think for a person to succeed, to achieve achievements, it is necessary to work hard for their minds and bones, learn a lot, do a lot. The author of the book said you want to succeed. To achieve excellence you have to learn to give up a lot of things, focus on doing the one thing that matters. Most. It is enough to make one piece, the author thinks, because this truth is so simple many people are not easy to believe. Interestingly done by Keller himself at the beginning. I don't believe it works that way. He also took a long time. Only then did I realize this truth in the first stage of his business. It took Keller 10 years to build a great company. What he did during this time was smooth sailing, so I feel with confidence the company will soon be able to expand its business to countries around the world. To his surprise, right at this time the company was suddenly in total trouble. Despite all his efforts and sacrifices, business is still a mess. There is no discrimination. It was like he was stuck in a trap, desperately asking for help from those around you. Hopefully someone will pull him out. This time one of his teachers extended the Führer to him. The two of them walked together. After fully understanding the relevant details, the teacher began to think how to help him solve the problem. By the time their walk is almost over, the teacher has already come up with a concrete solution. The teacher asked him, "You feel like you're going to turn things around. What do you need to do at home?" Keller was confused. "Say I don't know." Shaking your head. The teacher is on the wall. "Write down 14 key positions. Say you only need to do one thing. It can turn the whole company around. The embarrassing situation. That's the 14 key positions that marked me. Only to those who are really competent. As long as you choose these 14 key positions correctly, the whole company can move in a good direction at home." Keller was shocked. He couldn't believe the solution was so simple. He asked the teacher, "This solution is not supposed to a little more complicated? Do a few more things. Would it be safer to twist and win?" His teacher said, "Not required. Jesus only needed 12 disciples. You only need people in 14 key positions this time at home." Keller's life can be said to have the meaning of inflection. After discussing it with his teacher, he made a big decision. Dismissed himself. He stepped down as the company's CEO, began to concentrate on finding people in 14 key positions. What was the result? He found these 14 key people. Less than 3 years the company has achieved sustained profitability, and profits have grown at a rate of 40% for 10 consecutive years. From a regional company quickly grew into a national company. But this time new problems have arisen while discussing work with these 14 key people at home. Keller will briefly summarize. There are several things they are committed to accomplishing at this stage, but what gave him a headache was these 14 people, although can do most of the work they promised, but sometimes the most important work, it wasn't done, causing their jobs to get bogged down at home. Keller tried to communicate with them. Simplify their work from this week. Several things need to be done. Simplified into the 3 most important tasks of the week. Then it was reduced to the 2 most important tasks of the week. But I still don't see the effect in the end. He decided to give it a try. It's a way to do just one thing. That's what he asked them. What's your most important job this week? Which work, once completed, it makes other tasks easier or less important. This approach, it was he who thought of it in despair, but once again he brought a surprise. The performance of these 14 key people after that. Straight up, it is because of the experience of these 2 troubled situations at home. Keller began to wrap up the relationship between the company's situation and its practices. It turned out to be a more interesting phenomenon every time. The company is a huge success. It's all when he focuses on doing one thing at home. Keller thought of such a question. Everyone has 24 hours a day. Why some people succeed, some people fail. Those who succeed, why can more be accomplished, reach higher goals, make more money? I have more things that if said we put time. It is regarded as the original capital of a person's business, then everyone's raw capital. All 24 hours a day successful people allocate their raw capital and get far more than others. Home. Keller thought the answer is all the behaviors and experiences of successful people all tightly revolve around their goals. They succeed because they give up a lot. Can be done, but it's not something that has to be done. Focus on what matters most, whether it's work or life. Want the best results, it is necessary to reduce the amount and narrow the target. But most people don't quite believe this. They think to do great things it will definitely consume a lot of time. There will be many twists and turns, so they will shoot the plan very full. The schedule is too tight. As a result, success is getting farther and farther away from them. Everyone has a limited amount of time and experience. If you want to go face to face, most likely exhausted. I can't take care of anyone. You want to blossom in many ways. The result is a reduction in efficiency. Too much pressure. It will leave you unable to complete the task on time. There is no good food. Can't sleep. There is no time for movement. No time for family and friends. In the Opinion of Keller. That's what went wrong. Success is actually close. That's what we said earlier. Take your time. The experience focuses on the most important thing, and that's not what most of us normally do because we have a lot of misconceptions about success. We hear too many lies about success. Actually, these lies, it misleads us and hinders our success because this one says there is only one thing that is most important. So Keller deliberately collected a lot at home, a maxim that conflicts with this phrase. For example, everything matters. Do several things at once. It will be more efficient. Self-discipline and willpower can solve all problems. He thinks these are all lies. Let's start with the first aphorisms. He collected everything matters. In life we often get into this predicament. There are many things to do every day. Some are not done on the day. It had to be postponed until the next day. And then things got more and more detained there. It simply can't be done. We were busy beyond our normal load. But success, it doesn't approach us just because we're busy. We work hard, but not much because of our busyness. A lot is busy. Mistakenly think that everything is important. I want to finish them all. This is the mistake we often make. To get everything done, we have to keep in mind the hope of time management. Make a list of things to do. It is indeed a useful method. This can effectively help us focus, but we are also often limited by lists. It seems that you have to put everything on the list. It's all done, and the order in which we deal with things inadvertently also affected by the checklist. How successful people approach things. It's not the same as ordinary people. Before making a decision, they will give it full consideration until the main task is found, then make the main task the core. Do something else around the main task. There is a good chance that they will do. Ordinary people generally postpone work. Think about doing things. They also have a clear understanding compared to the cumbersome and long-term agency list. They are more inclined to make a short list of thrilling successes. How successful people put what is an ordinary checklist is transformed into a success list. Let's take a look. The discovery of Joseph Uran. Uran is a master codebreaker to the field of science and business. All have made outstanding contributions. His achievement sparked the idea of General Electric. GE invited him to refer to it the theory of the Italian economist Pareto. Inspect the companies design for management whether the new allocation plan is reasonable. So what we just said, what is Pareto's theory? In the 19th century, Pareto made a calculation to make an idea. 20% of the world's population owns 80% of the wealth. This is a question of suitability for the distribution of wealth, but Uran realized this is most likely a universal rule, and then we put this rule become the rule of 28. The rule of 28 states deliver a lot of results, yielding returns. Often a small number of reasons put in a comeback. Other words for success. The distribution is also unfair. Very small investment. There are many such cases with great success, so there is a selective comeback in order to effectively get returns. The family opened itself like this. Several decisive moments. It was he who got to where he is today. As far as that investment is concerned, the vast majority of his wealth, it's all from a few right investments. So we can refer to the rule of 28. Put a to-do list, turn into a success checklist. It's from what you're going to do. Pick out the most important 20% and then narrow it down to that 20% until you find the most important thing. The second lie for success. It's about doing several things at once. It will be more efficient since doing the most important thing is the key. So why do we have to do other things at the same time? In 2009, a professor at Stanford University did a study. He wanted to see the so-called all-rounder how to complete several tasks at the same time. He told the New York Times he himself does not have this ability, so once very envious of those who could do it. The professor took the lead. The research team distributed more than 200 questionnaires. Investigate how students work on multiple tasks at the same time. He put these investigative subjects divided into those who often work on multiple transactions at the same time and those who don't do it often, and speculate people who often multitask work more efficiently. But what about the result? To their surprise, the professor said, I originally thought of being a generalist. There must be some magical ability. It turned out they simply don't get to the point. It looks as if they are solid in every aspect. Nothing can stump them. As a matter of fact, everything is not done well, so people can strengthen several things at once. Just a nice lie. The problem is this practice is now very streamy. Okay, many people think several things should be sturdy at once and there is nothing left unturned. We often think of things this way as a very efficient performance. Discuss often how can we master this skill. Companies at the time of recruitment think of it as 1-2, the ability to have a clear advantage, but what actually? He's just one blind lies. Work on several things at once. Neither efficient. It's also hard to succeed. If said you try to do two things at the same time, the result is either no way to do it at all, either you can't do both. There is a good saying, work on several things at once. It's equivalent to screwing up several things at once. Sometimes we can really do two things at the same time. For example, I talk as I walk, I read the map while eating, but we can't do two at the same time, something that requires our focus. Strangely, modern people especially like to leave it to others. A multifaceted impression. For example, listen to music while doing things, make phone calls while driving, grab your phone while eating. Sometimes we are not too short of time, there are too many things instead. He kept hinting at himself, do a lot of things at once, more things. It turns out that the time to do a thing. We now hope that 2 things can be done, even 3 things. So let's talk about our work scenario. Our office is a requirement for everyone. There must be a place of 3 heads and 6 arms. You're focusing on a project in front of you. Suddenly someone coughed. Ask if you have cough tablets. Phone in the office. Think about it for a moment. Think about it for a moment. There is no way for anyone to be sexually extinguished. And what mail is in the mailbox? Never finish. The phone vibrates constantly. Say you're being informed of new news. A bunch of couriers were not dismantled, a bunch of things were not done, and there are always people asking you endlessly, how are things going? So this distraction, interference, interrupt, it's happening all the time. The survey said generally speaking employees in the office every 11 minutes will be interrupted once. They spend a third of their day a day spend the process recovering from disturbances. But even so we still have to be on the time, complete the task, multitask or switch back and forth in a task. Such a statement, it's just self-deception. The researchers found switching tasks is not without cost. If we say simple tasks, consumption time cost less than or equal to 25%. If it is a complex task, more time consumed. There is a high probability that it is more than 100% outcome. We are in 1 business day on average 28% of the time it's wasted on task switching. We didn't realize it at all. Keeping this image for many faces, what a high price. The third lie about success, it's self-discipline and willpower can solve everything. A lot of times we will put success and willpower bundled together as if to say, with willpower you will succeed, but the problem is for most of us willpower does not mean I want to have it, I'm always available at the same time. I have an inexhaustible list. Inexhaustible. You can put willpower, think of it as an indicator bar for your phone's remaining battery. Every morning it may be fully charged, but over time you are constantly using the electricity you have stored. It is consumed. You need to find the right time recharge, and not to say use it all the time. We all know that use limited resources in a planned manner, but you didn't put it so important. Willpower plan as a limited resource for individuals, and so it goes wait until we really need it. When willpower to complete important tasks, probably it has run out now. The study shows willpower is indeed fleeting. The energy is huge, but it doesn't last. After using willpower, the amount of glucose in our blood will decrease sharply. We can put willpower, it is seen as something that takes a long time to recover. Resilient mental muscles. If on one thing too much willpower, and do not wait until it recovers, just throw in the next thing. Our performance will be unsatisfactory. This time you need to nourish your brain. For example, eating some can be slow foods that raise blood sugar or carbohydrates, protein and so on. So I want to make good use of willpower. We need to consciously grasp the timing at the height of willpower. Every day do what matters most. Get it done before willpower fails. Self-discipline is also not a thing you can keep what you want. In terms of human nature, you can't ask for yourself be disciplined at every moment. Instead, it should be through a fixed training method and a long enough training time to make a habit. The best thing to succeed is pick the right habit. Train yourself to develop this habit. If this habit has become a part of your life in the eyes of others, you're like a self-disciplined person. When you first start to develop habits, we may find it particularly difficult, but as long as the habit is formed, it's much easier to keep it than to grow it. Then you have to ask, how long does it take? Self-discipline can become my habit. Survey results from the University of London. It provides us with a clear answer. It takes an average of 66 days to form a habit. We are sometimes encouraged to say in 21 days you can make a habit, but this one is unrealistic, so don't give up too soon. Researchers in Australia also found habit forming process. There is a halo effect at the time of experimentation. Students who develop good habits, the general reaction pressure is relatively small. Less impulse shopping. Eating habits are better. The frequency of watching TV is reduced. Even the situation of saving dirty dishes is unhappy. There are also improvements that shows keep good habits not only getting easier, and it can bring benefits to other aspects of life. We all know it. Swimming champion Michael Phelps diagnosed as a child have attention deficit disorder. His toddler teacher Yuan tell his mother Phelps was always restless. There is no way to calm down. I'm sorry, your son is completely unable to concentrate on the experience, but this seems to be successful with focus. Youth who don't touch the edge at all set one world record after another. His mother said proudly, I was amazed by how focused Michael was, including his coach. It also carries his concentration, the most powerful weapon that this Phelps. How could there be such a shift? Here's the secret: his training habits over the years. From the age of 14 to participate in the Beijing Olympics in '08, Phelps insists every week training for 7 days. The amount of time underwater per day is 6 hours. Never stop. He put all his experiences are assigned to this most important thing. This self-discipline and habit let him find his place in the pool, and with great success. All right, after figuring out these few lies about success, we can return to the theme of this book. The most important thing, only one piece. Which one is it? Then you need to ask yourself the key questions. What is the most important thing I can do? Why did this happen? It makes other things easier, or it is no longer necessary. This question, it can be broken down into 3 parts. The first part, what is the most important thing I can do? This question inspire you to act. The most important thing means the answer is one thing, a specific thing, and not a lot of things. Although you may have a lot of options, but you have to make a judgment, otherwise you can't Keep doing it. The second thing is the third thing. You have to choose the one most important thing to do. What I can do. In fact, you have to take possible action. Can be done. It doesn't have to be done. Probably do, or I'll do it. There are a lot of things we have to do. Probably do, will do, but never do it. Do it because you can do it. This power is much greater than trying to do. Part 2. What happens if you do this? That's what it says. Your answer must meet a standard. This standard lets you start with just find one thing to do turned into do something for a clear goal. If you do this, you will say what it is. You have to stretch your hair down because after doing this and then something else happens. Part 3. Make other things easier or no longer necessary. Archimedes said, give me a fulcrum and I'll pry the earth. Then you have to find such a fulcrum. Make other things easier or less necessary. After doing the most important thing you'll find out other things to do to achieve the goal. In fact, it takes less effort. It can also be done or there is no need to do it at all. You can do what you want. Blind eye. It's like putting yourself a blindfold. Such only then will it be possible for you to change the trajectory of your life. Do it without distractions. That's the most important thing. Key issues at different stages of life lead you to the most important thing in different periods. You just need to divert your attention. Rethink. The key question is what it is. According to the former president of the American Psychological Association, Martin Seligman's study, a person wants to have happiness. The most important thing is to dedicate yourself to your business. Make your life more meaningful. When we are doing things every day, when you gradually reach a goal, happiness will follow. The way to success is to know what is really important to you and through little by little accumulation to achieve it. The author of that book is home to Keller. A very practical suggestion was given. It's the regression method. Consider long-term goals first, then step by step. Think back, revert to the most important thing you should do now, then think about it. For long-term goals, what is the most important thing I should do in the next 5 years? That's for the 5-year plan. What is the most important thing I should do this year? For this year's goals. What is the most important thing I should do this month? For this month's goals. And what is the most important thing I should do this week? For this week's goals. What is the most important thing I should do today? For today's goals. What is the most important thing I should do now? Just link all the goals one by one until you find the most important thing in the moment. Take an example. Someone once asked the famous American comedian Jerry Seinfeld how to be a better comedian. Seinfeld said, write a joke every day. His method was to hang one on the wall. Huge calendar. One day I wrote down the laughs. He put a big red cross on the calendar for the day. Say this column of red crosses will get longer and longer. He would like to see them continue, and the only thing he has to do is do not let it disconnect. The so-called persistence is not a long-distance run, rather many sprints are connected in series. All right, that's the most important thing. There is only one main point of the book. The author tells us about success. We have had a lot of misconceptions in the past. We thought, want to succeed in your career, everything matters. Do several things at once. It will be more efficient. Self-discipline and willpower can solve everything. In fact, these are all lies about success. Want to achieve extraordinary achievements, you have to know what is the most important thing you can do. Then around this core goal, step by step backwards, find what matters most in the moment. So think about it now for you. Which is the most important thing? Thank you for listening to this book every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all for your support and attention. Subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, like and with friends around you. Share this valuable knowledge. Let's combine wisdom with practice together. Achieve your financial goals. Create a better future. Thank you.